Hey, what's going on, nation? I hope you guys had a great weekend. For those of you who probably did my upper body workout that I released on Sunday, you had a great weekend up until you tried that workout, because you're probably sore as hell right now. But aside from that, I thought it'd be really fun to do a video with you guys, you know, not so scripted, more just kind of shooting the shit and talking to you about my progress since I made my last video called The Truth Behind My Recent Gains, which came out a while ago. When I made that video, I was still bulking a bit, had a bit higher body fat percentage, and I was sitting around like 179 pounds. And obviously with summer coming up, and for those of you who are going to Body Power in the UK in Birmingham, I will be there at the BSN booth. And because I'm going to this event, obviously I want to look my best. So that means I'm going to have to start trimming down little bits of fat. Now, those of you who've been watching my videos for a long time, you know that I promote lean gains. I don't believe in bulking and gaining 20 pounds of fat. There's no point to doing it. And when you gain lots of fat like that, there's a lot of things that go wrong inside your body that kind of go against muscle building. One of them being you produce more estrogen. But we won't get into that right now. Like I said, I just want to kind of talk to you guys and share with you some of the things that I have been doing in order to trim down as I approach, Body Power. I did just release a video called 8 Fat Shredding Tips You Wish You Knew Last Summer. And yes, I am incorporating a lot of those tips into what I'm doing now. And it was a really long video. It was like 20-something minutes long. But I mean, those were amazing tips. And I mean, judging from the views of the video, you guys agree. And I think that's what it really needs to be about. When it comes to natural bodybuilding, there's certain things that work and there's certain things that don't. And I want you guys to always know that I'm only going to give you the things that are going to work. There's no bro science on my channel. I don't fall into fads or trends. It's only things that work. So, some of the things that I'm doing on a more personal note to get ready for Body Power are very, very simple. One of the most simple things that I have been doing is just manipulating my diet, and I talked about this in that video I just said, the 8 Fat Shredding Tips. And, I do a lot of one-on-one consultations. I do Skype consultations with lots of different people all over the world, and there's always one thing that seems to be like the most unheard of thing to do. Like, most people don't realize how easy it is to manipulate their diet so that they can actually make lean gains. And that biggest thing is carbohydrate manipulation. It's very simple. You guys should, it should click in your mind. If you're going to the gym and you're working out, obviously you're burning more calories. So even if you're on a bulking plan or if you're trying to lose weight, no matter what you're doing, there's still a certain window which you want to stay in. So if you're trying to bulk, usually that window is like a 250 to 500 calorie surplus, so you don't gain too much body fat. And if you're trying to cut, that window is just the opposite. It's 250 to 500 calorie deficit you try to be in each day. So when you're working out, you're obviously burning more calories, so you have to eat more food to keep that deficit window between 200 and 500. And then on days where you're not working out, you have to eat less food to keep that deficit window between 250 to 500. And the easiest place to pull calories from is going to be your carbohydrates. Now, I usually eat like 200 to 250 carbohydrates a day. In my old school days, I used to eat like 350 to 400, but I was also a lot more active back then. And a lot of people get that confused too. They think that as you get older, your metabolism slows down because you got older. And, that might hold true for some people, but for a lot of us, the reason why our metabolism slow down as we get older is because we're not as active. Even me, I am a fitness YouTuber. And when I was younger and I worked in a gym, I was going up and down stairs all day long, walking around with clients all day long. And even if I was just walking, I was still burning way more calories than I am now, where I do a lot of research, I write a lot of articles, I edit a lot of videos, so I'm sitting on my butt a lot. So I can't exactly bulk and keep that same mentality of eating every single carbohydrate in sight. I gotta be a bit more mindful of what I'm putting in my body. So, right now my macros are like 250 protein, 250 carbs, and 110 fat. Some of you guys might say my protein's too high. It's what works for me, so that's why I do it. And personally, I don't think it's too high at all. But that helps me get those calories I need in order to lean bulk. And so on days where I do not work out, or I know I'm not going to be working out, all I do is I lower my carbohydrates from 250 down to 150, and if I'm being super lazy, not doing anything, maybe between 100 and 150 grams a day. And usually that's enough to close the gap in my calorie deficit or my calorie surplus, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm not working out that day. Because if I'm not working out, those calories I would have burned are gone. So you have to make up for that in your meal plan. And it's really that simple. And some of you guys might be saying, like, how do I do this? How do I find like foods that I can eat that will allow me to kind of close this gap? Or how do I stave off hunger if I'm getting really hungry at night? And one of the tips I talked about is I talked about drinking BCAAs at night and also eating leafy greens. And that's something that I have been doing every single night. I actually have a mini fridge in my room and I keep my leafy greens in there. And actually, I just did that last week. Like a light bulb went off in my head and I'm like, why am I keeping the leafy greens downstairs in the fridge if I could put them in my room and have them available for me when I want to binge eating at night? So anyways, that's a side note. So that's what I do. And the BCAAs, obviously, really good, you know, especially for those of you guys that fast, you know how great BCAAs are. The reason why I talk about Amino X by BSN and I use the grape is because it has a very sweet taste. 0 calories, 0 stimulants, it's not going to keep you up. And to me, it tastes like a grape, like soda drink. And I love that. And it keeps me away from like wanting to eat some, because like my daughter and my wife, they like to have snacks everywhere. And like, I can't just sit there and see them eat snacks and not get jelly, you know what I mean? So drinking that helps kind of like push those cravings away. And another thing too, guys, what I talk about a lot with my clients, they're always asking me like, what's better to have, whey protein or casein protein, or should I just take casein protein at night? And like, but they really don't understand why they're choosing different things. Personally, you guys know, obviously I use BSN Synthesix, and it's a mixture of both casein and whey protein. Now, when it comes to muscle building and muscle breakdown, basically you always want to have more protein synthesis happening than protein breakdown. Protein synthesis, we'll just say, is muscle growth. Protein breakdown obviously is muscle loss. And you obviously always want to have the protein synthesis ratio higher. And the ways you can keep that higher is by always having elevated levels of leucine in your blood. Now, granted, there are other factors that come into play, but this is something you guys should all know. Leucine is in BCAAs and also in protein too. So whey protein elevates leucine levels in your blood like a really high spike, okay? Reason why it's fast digesting protein. So it elevates that level really high, but then quickly kind of tapers off. I think it's like 3 to 4 hours. You get a spike and then it kind of wears down. Where casein can last like 7 to 8 hours, but the spike isn't as high. So basically you got leucine like this and casein kind of like this, but not like that. It goes like this and then kind of lasts, 7 to 8 hours. So it lasts longer. And so the reason why it's nice to have a blend of both is because you'll get that initial spike and then kind of taper off, and you're going to have a slightly higher elevated level of leucine for a longer period of time. That's what makes it so good. Then if you're doing things like BCAAs and if you're fasting, obviously that helps too, because you're keeping those leucine levels high, helps stave off muscle catabolism where you're breaking down muscle tissue. And like I said, there's more that goes into it, but I'm just trying to give you guys some quick notes to help you understand why you should be doing certain things. Now, if you're a natural bodybuilder and you're trying to keep as much muscle as possible when you're cutting and you want to look full, I mean, it's a hard thing to do. You can't crash diet, because if you crash diet, you're not going to be getting enough, not only macros, but vitamins and minerals that you need in order to keep healthy muscle tissue, and you're going to be losing weight, but it's going to be a lot of muscle wasting as well. You don't want that to happen. That's why I always recommend lean bulking, so that you can do a lean cut as well, staying within those 250 to 500 calories, windows, whether it's a surplus or a deficit, depending on what you're trying to do at this time. So, what I like to do is, what I've been doing now is I've basically been manipulating my diet. I've been doing the BCAAs in the morning as soon as I wake up. I've been doing the BCAAs at night with leafy greens, and I've been manipulating my carbohydrates each day depending on how active I am. And it's really that simple. And I will say I still am doing my cheat and recover workouts One thing I have noticed, obviously now that I'm going in a bit of a slight deficit in my calories, is they're much harder to do. Obviously, whenever you're cutting, you're not going to have as much energy. Manipulating the carbohydrates does help, and on days like where I'm doing legs, for example, and I'm exerting a lot of energy, I might close that gap so that my deficit isn't so short. That's when I'll kind of make it more around like maybe 250 calories for the day. I'll try to close that gap around there and not lower carbs as much because I'm going to need the energy. But yeah, I mean, I'm still doing the workouts. Last week, I was completely fried. I actually did a deload week. And for those of you who are waiting for the Cheat and Recover program, like I said, I'm testing it out right now, making sure that I deliver it to you. It's a lot of volume, and it's puts a lot of stress on your central nervous system. So you might have to deload a lot more often than normal, like usually every 4 weeks. After 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, I was like spent. I had to do a deload. But I don't want to get too far off topic. I just want you guys to know that the program is coming and I'm working on it. But, you know, all I'm doing is manipulating my carbohydrates. And there's some other things that I'm doing as well that you guys should know. Number one, if you guys notice, I'm a little red kind of in the face and the hands. Well, I don't know if you can really tell in my hands, but I just got done running outside. And what I've been doing is boosting my cardio, and I do it like 3 times a week now. I try to do it in the morning if I can, but if I wake up and I'm too busy and have stuff to do, I like to do it after my workout. Never do your cardio before your weight training. You can still do a warm-up, but don't do your intense cardio sessions before your weight training because you're not going to be able to train as intense as you normally would, because what happens when you do cardio is you start to get loose, right? We rely on a lot of that like tension and elasticity in our muscles to be able to lift more weight, so we can obviously put as much of an overload on our muscles as possible. So granted, like I said, you want to warm up, you want to do dynamic warm up so that your muscles aren't cold and the joints aren't cold. But if you do like a 20-minute cardio session and then go lift, you're going to notice right away that you're not feeling as strong. And mentally, you might think that maybe you didn't eat enough, you didn't sleep enough, or you're losing your gains. You might think all these things where all that's happening is you should have done your cardio after to avoid what just happened. So that's another quick tip for you guys. But what I've been doing is like 15 to 20 minutes of HIIT cardio. And all I do, guys, is I literally run on the treadmill for a minute, and then I do like a fast jog for a minute, and then I run for a minute, fast jog for a minute. So most treadmills are about the same in terms of like miles per hour when you can push the buttons. So I'll do like 4 miles per hour on my fast jog, and then I'll go like 8 or 9 on my minute run, and I'll alternate between that for 15, 20 minutes max, depending on how I feel or how much food I ate. I kind of like calculate it on the spot. And for those of you guys who've been working out for a while, you can kind of feel out your bodies too. So I do that. And another thing that I have been doing is I've been doing some ab training at home. Now, obviously, if you want your abs to show and you want them to really pop, you have to train them and you have to really put them through hell to make them look as tight as possible. And I've been doing a training program at home, and I'll post a photo for you guys. My abs are starting to get super tight again, and it's because obviously losing body fat, and it's because I've been doing this brutal program at home. And if you guys would like the program, of course I can film it for you. Just leave a comment below and hit that thumbs up button, and I'll be sure to get that filmed this week. But that's been helping me too, because when I go to the gym, you know, I'm trying to get in and out of there within like 60 to 90 minutes max. And for me, I mean, I can get some, like, for the weighted ab exercises that I like to do, I can smash those out in the gym, usually like in between, you know, if I'm training like chest and triceps, instead of resting for like a minute and a half, I can go hit a really hardcore ab exercise. Because if you're doing chest and you're doing triceps, granted there's some core engagement, but not like a squat. Like, I'm not going to superset ab exercises while squatting, because my core is just gonna like crumble under the pressure of having weak abs and trying to squat, or deadlifting too. So you gotta be smart about that. But doing a heavy ab training at the gym, and been doing this thing at my house literally at least 5 to 6 days a week. I have a lot of my consultations doing it as well. They absolutely love it, and it's literally like a 15-minute workout that you can do as soon as you wake up. Oh, and that brings me to another point too, guys. It's all about maximizing time. Like, for me, I'm super busy, and like just so many of you guys, you're all super busy. I try to maximize time as much as I can. So obviously I got to prepare my meals. I have to go to the gym. I got work I have to do. But when you get to the gym, if you're trying to get in and out of there in 90 minutes, you don't want to be spending like 20 to 30 minutes warming up because you're super tight. Especially those of you who sit down all day. Like, I sit down a lot, I hate to admit it, throughout the day because I'm always on the computer, like doing site stuff, editing stuff. I try not to be all day, but you know, usually 4 hours a day I'm sitting on my butt. So when I wake up in the morning, that's when I do stretching. And I do like a quick 10 to 15 minute max stretch. And this is something every single one of you can do no matter what you do for work. You just wake up a little early and you start doing the stretching as soon as you wake up. And it's going to make you more productive throughout the day. And it's going to make you not feel as tight when you get to the gym. And the reason why I say it makes you more productive is because once you start stretching and you get the blood flowing, that's when you start to feel good. Like if you go to the gym and you do your stretching and then you go lift, you feel really good. Excuse me, because you've been stretching, get the blood flowing, the muscles are getting nice and loose, you know. And I still recommend obviously doing a quick warm-up when you get to the gym. And that's another video. A lot of you guys have been asking for a warm-up. I can very easily put together like a quick 10 to 15 minute warm-up that I do personally, which I'm sure, I wonder why I haven't made this video. Like I was thinking today at the gym, I was like, why haven't I made this warm-up video yet? Like this is so easy and you guys are going to absolutely love it. So I can put that together too. But you guys should be doing warm-ups and quick stretches as soon as you wake up and then start your day. You're going to feel absolutely amazing. So, like I said, I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys and get more on like a personal level, let you know what I've been doing, how I've been manipulating my diet, and how I've been manipulating my training. And it's been working for me. I feel phenomenal, guys. I feel like I look better than I have in a long time. And it's just because I made a few small changes. Like, if anything, I've had less time to do a lot of stuff, which is good. That means things are going well for me, and I've had less time, but I'm able to do more because I've been really utilizing the time that's available to me. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I love having chats with you guys. This brings me back to like my roots. I used to have chats with you guys all the time and just answer questions. This is what makes it fun for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. For those of you who are going to Body Power, please come by the BSN booth. As you all know, for those of you watching this video right now, if you ever come to the Arnold or the Olympia, I'm always tossing, you know, bottles of BSN in your bags when nobody's looking. And that trend will always continue to happen. You can guarantee that, especially for my subscribers. Hope you guys have a great night. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, more good stuff coming soon. See you guys.